In this video, I want to give a second unbiased opinion about a system that was not given a chance because of its bad rap with its controllers and its sheer size. I think most people associate the Atari 5200 now, especially next-gen gamers who are curious, with the Angry Video Game Nerd's review. Which, although I found his video hilarious, he did not even play one game in his review because of the infamous bad controllers. In this case, let's say that the controllers did work and I had a much better alternative like S-Video to hook up to the TV. Now mind you, in order to have an Atari 5200 with acceptable controls and video, you will need to spend money. An Achilles heel once again with collecting for this system. So I'm going to go over my personal S-Video modded 4-port Atari 5200 and the controllers as well as its alternatives. Okay, most people agree that the Atari 5200 joysticks are bad, but this is not entirely true. In fact, analog controls are a necessity in next-gen game consoles. This also does not mean I think the Atari 5200 controls are good. Being analog is not bad, but the fact that it does not self-center does make it bad, if not horrible, for these types of games. Case in point, Pac-Man. A game like this requires fast reflexes with the speed of a digital controller. There might be some out there that will contend they are good at Pac-Man with the 5200 controller, but even if, they are still playing handicapped, and I am willing to bet they would play even better with a good old-fashioned digital controller. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The basic concept of the Atari 5200 controller was to combine a joystick, keypad, and paddle controller all into one, which technically would make this joystick the most advanced of its time. The problem is, it's really not needed for these type of games. Digital is much more appropriate for 95% of these games, in my opinion. A typical digital joystick uses an open and closed circuit to move or fire. In joystick movement, the controls would be centered at open and closed would move in the direction you push the joystick. It is instantaneous. The Atari 5200 analog controller does not use this concept. Instead, it uses variable resistance to determine whether it is centered or where it moves. This is done in conjunction with two pots or potentiometers, one for horizontal and the other for vertical. I have read the variable resistance is from 0 to 500 kiloohms, while 250 kiloohms would be centered. Basically, pots work the same way as paddle controllers for games like Pong, where you have more precise movement. Doesn't get much better than this. As you can see, I'm having a hard time trying to get 250 kiloohms, which would make it center. I don't want to go too much in depth with this, as this could become its own video. I just wanted to give a basic idea. Now here we have the good old Wyco self-centering joystick. While these joysticks are much better than the original, you will still have to toggle these two switches on the joystick to make sure it is correctly centered. This is a nice feature. However, you will still have issues with games like Mountain King where the character may continue moving even if you're not controlling him. This also can lead to adjusting another potentiometer located in the Atari 5200 next to the Pokey sound chip. I am not going into depth with that, as adjusting and tweaking the Atari 5200 controllers can go into too much depth. In order to get the Wyco controller to work, you must make sure you have the Y cable adapter, which allows you to use the numeric buttons from your original Atari 5200 controller. Or you can get the much better Wyco numeric adapter, which when you plug your Wyco stick in with the 9-pin cable, you can then plug the other end of it to the Atari 5200 15-pin joystick port. Now here we have the almighty Competition Pro. Believe it or not, this is a digital stick. All I have to say is whoever designed this at the time was very smart. It still uses the Y cable adapter built into the joystick to use your original Atari 5200 for the numeric pad. But get this, the fucker still needs the original Atari 5200 controller to be centered as much as possible for it to work. Again, I'm not going to go in depth too much on this, but with a working Atari 5200 analog controller in line with this arcade quality digital controller, you're going to get awesome results. Okay, here we have the Atari 5200 trackball. While it may be ginormous in size, provided the best home experience of both Missile Command and Centipede. Centipede itself on the 5200 may be the best home version besides emulation to ever grace a television set. Now let me introduce you to the joystick coupler. With two fully working Atari 5200 analog joysticks, you're going to witness some of the best controls on any vintage console. The concept is simple. One controls the character sprite while the other shoots. This accessory was packaged with both Robotron and the awesome Space Dungeon. This hectic shooter is a mutant spawn of both Robotron and Venture. It is an excellent example of how the Atari 5200 analog controls can be done right. Just by looking at this game, you should be able to judge for yourself that shitty controls would never help you navigate through this hell. And in case you're wondering, I'm not good at this game. This is just the first fucking level. Let's talk about the graphic power of the Atari 5200. I personally think it's on par with the ColecoVision despite what people think. Yeah, games like Jungle Hunt look better on the ColecoVision, but Centipede and Defender look better on the Atari 5200. Then there are games like Pitfall, Keystone Capers, and Heroes which don't look much better than the 2600 version. Pitfall 2, however, has more levels than the other console version, making it the superior version in my opinion. When comparing graphics against the ColecoVision, the bottom line is it just depends on how good the programmer is who developed the game, not the system. If a game looks better on the ColecoVision, I can only assume more time was spent developing it. The same goes the other way. They are equal in my mind, both have their advantages. But then again, if you're persnickety about graphics, then you should clear away from vintage consoles altogether. For me, I like to use my imagination as well as see how a developer can push something with so little. Compared to the Nintendo, I personally think it does not stand a chance. But don't get me wrong, Ball Blazer on the Atari 5200 looks better than the Nintendo version with its more fluid movement. Every system has their strength and weakness. In this case, I chose a game on the Nintendo that is actually handled better on the Atari 5200. What did you say? And then there is Rescue on Fractalis, a game that may not even be possible on the Nintendo without some sort of chip to aid it. Oh yeah, you're about to witness a first-person shooter on the Atari 5200. The game uses fractal technology to generate the craggy mountains of an alien planet where visibility is greatly reduced by the dense atmosphere. The object is to pilot the Valkyrie over this harsh landscape in order to pick up down Ether Corps pilots and bring them back to the mothership. For a game developed in 1984 with limited technology, it is very aggressive in attempting a simulation of this magnitude. explosion! Fuck! Since the Atari 5200 is basically an Atari 8-bit computer that has been consoleized, there have been many games ported to the 5200. One in particular that really shines, especially with a 4-port Atari 5200, is M.U.L.E. While I probably will never have 4 friends over for a M.U.L.E. party, at least I have the option. This turn-based strategy game is an 8-bit simulation of a supply and demand economy on an alien planet called Errata, or Atari backwards. You choose from several races, obtaining land from grants or auctions, then you purchase mules and outfit them to produce energy, food, smith, or crystite. At the end of each round or month, all production is tallied up and the auction phase begins, where players get to buy and sell their resources by either trading with opponents or with the town store. It then becomes a 12-month race to become the richest and most successful creature on the planet, all while dealing with the cost of production and random events like meteor strikes, acid rain, pests, and so on. I usually find myself completely submerged into the game, acting out my inner conman skills, buying, flipping, hustling, and even refusing to sell precious energy to other players in order to make sure they cannot outproduce me.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the 12th round, bitch.
Yeah.
Man, please, look at all this crystite they're fucking producing. They had no energy. They're at -10.
Oh, I won! Yes, the first founder.
Some of you may be wondering why I started collecting for the Atari 5200. Well, the answer is a simple homebrew game called Adventure 2. Ron Lloyd, the developer, made a worthy sequel to the Atari 2600 Classic. It was the first time I actually wanted to own a cartridge without emulation on real hardware. It was from this game that I started collecting for it. I have to say, however, that after obtaining all these peripherals to play the 5200, I was shocked at how much I had to spend and how much of this shit filled the living room. The bottom line, I wanted to play 5200 games with a simple digital stick where the keypad is located where it needs to be, where not only I could play my 5200 games, but other games as well that push the hardware even more. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. This is the phonedork signing out. Bye.